Hi, I'm the Plant Gals, and today I just wanted to, do another enclosure video. I was not expecting to do two back to back. I don't even know when I've done that. Please excuse my a little bit tired appearance. I am so tired. I've been dealing with a bit of an illness flare, and I've just had a lot going on this week. But when I have a lot going on, I just want to throw myself right into my plants and animals. So that's what I did. Tiki, my redfoot tortoise, cutest little creature on the entire planet, needed hardcore an upgrade. Remember, upgrades don't have to be upgrading sizes of tanks or anything major, lighting systems and stuff like that. Tiki's upgrade today was just getting a fresh new soil-based layer and with just some better botanicals and stuff, giving him a good clean, just getting rid of all the old gross stuff, nice leaves, nice weird little botanical pieces and cork bark and stuff, so that Tiki just has like a fresh start. I'm very used to doing this because this is actually, I wouldn't call it an upgrade, but when it comes to my hedgehog, I clean out his bedding constantly. Sometimes I do like a partial clean of the areas he poops in the most, and sometimes I do a big clean. Tiki's enclosure has been really good because he had a really good isopod colony going, but I just wasn't really liking the style of substrate I had. It was compacting too much and drying out too fast, so I wanted to change that and do a little bit more of a selective mix. A lot of the time I'm kind of against the really hardcore selective mixes in plants because it takes a lot of time and money and stuff like that, but when I'm trying to foster a bioactive ecosystem, to think more holistically about what soils I'm adding, what I'm mixing in, why I'm putting it in there, and what my goals are. So that's what I did. I didn't put any isopods in it at the end. I'm just gonna let Tiki establish in it, see how Tiki does with it first, because Tiki is obviously number one, even though the whole plan of this was to kind of establish a really strong bioactive colony. Then I'll add in the isopods once I know that Tiki does well with this mix, because it's a little bit fluffier and it should hold moisture a little bit nicer, and I just threw so many little botanicals and stuff in for Tiki to root around through. So yeah, that's what I'm going to show you today. Please enjoy. So I just added in my Reptisoil. I really like this. I just had some left over from another build, Dulce actually, and I really love this ABG premium mix from Frog Dirt. I have bought so many different soil mixes and leaves and things from them over the years. This is great. I added maybe about a quarter of this bag into this bin, and I've just been mixing it up with my hands. It's really dusty and it doesn't make for good filming, so I haven't shown it, but this is also the sand I use. It's just like some red sand. I bought a little bag of it and it's gone a long way. I also use it in Macho Man's enclosure to help with creating stability when you're doing the tunnels. Sometimes you can see a little bit of the color in the soil. It brings out the red a little bit, which I really like. But yeah, this is just the soil base that I create. My isopods will be happy in here, and so will Tiki. Even though I have a humidity system running, I really like adding a little bit of sphagnum moss. I'm going to add some straight into the dirt, and then I'm also just going to add some little pockets around the enclosure and definitely in Tiki's hide, so that I can have some areas with a little bit of added moisture just throughout the day. For now, I'm just adding this in dry, and then I'm just gonna break up each clump with my hands. It's a little bit harder with one hand than two, and I'll just mix it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like after that, because I'm gonna hydrate this soil once I'm done, and it's just easier for me to mix the moss in while it's dry. It doesn't make my hands as messy. Hot tip. Okay, so this is what the soil looks like now that it's all mixed and flattened. I am going to grab one of my big humidity misters, and I'm just going to give this a really crazy spray down. This is the style of hand mister I use. It's really simple. You just pump it up to pressurize it. You can twist this, so like the more closed it is, the wider the spray. So I just closed it all the way. I'll just open it like a tiny bit, and you can see the spray is really wide. I'm getting like the whole tub, and then you can push it down and you can lock it with this, so it just keeps spraying. If you're not pushing it, you pull this back, it stops. And if you open it up more, then it sprays like this, which also works. And you can get like a complete like jet spray. I use that sometimes when I'm lazy to fill up the water bowls. So I can just spray this straight into the back of their enclosure, and it actually works pretty well. I don't want this to get too wet, but I don't want it to be hydrophobic. Most of this is just sitting on the top right now, so I'm just gonna let that get wet and then let that kind of sit. I'm going to mix it together again, but I'm probably gonna put my hand in some plastic or something so I don't get super wet. So all I did was just mix this up. The soil looks a lot less wet than it did before, and technically it's just the same. It's just been mixed, and you can see that kind of makes a mess on the edges there. You can just go with like a paper towel or a rag after and wipe that down, and that makes that go away, but it's pretty much unavoidable when you're working with the wet soil, so I always try to leave that for last, even with the sphagnum moss. Once again, this has a humidity system running on it all day pretty much, on a cycle, so I don't have to worry about this being super wet because I'll get up most of the humidity from my humidifier. But let's add some of the other things. One of my favorite add-ins are these big magnolia leaves. When Tiki was smaller, believe it or not, Tiki's already grown a lot, he would hide underneath these. I used to have so many of them in this enclosure, but these are the only two I have left. And then one of my good friends, this is not sponsored by me, but they have a sponsorship with Beta Botanicals, and they were kind enough to share a bunch of botanicals with me. So I'm just gonna dump a lot of this bag in here and see what's in here. Okay, so I literally dumped in the whole bag. Yeah, these are from Beta Botanicals. I didn't buy them, and somebody is sponsored, but it's not me. I was just gifted them. I'm really obsessed with the little mini pine cones in here. I think they're so cute. And then also, like, I don't really know what these are, but those little, like, I don't know. They're probably gonna give people tryptophobia. If you notice there's a spot there, that's where Tiki's hide's gonna go, so I didn't really want to add anything there, and Tiki will just destroy this over time. Tiki moves around so much, so I'm really not fussed right now. I do have a couple other botanicals that I can add in here. I don't actually really remember where I got these from, just the last Reptile Expo, and I have some other odds and ends in here, so let's see what's in this bag, and I'll throw this in too. So, like, smells, sounds, obstacles, different opportunities are so important for all animals, but tortoises are actually very intelligent, so it's important to add them. Some of the things in here were like this. I don't know what this is. If you know what any of these are, you can let me know, but I do not. I think these look like little like mushrooms or something, like a stem. I'm not sure. There's like these. I had this twisty guy. I put one of these in with my isopods, and when it got wet, it completely straightened out. I don't know if that's some sort of seed pod or something. Yeah, that was what was in there, and I just filled up that, and then that's the soil and the botanicals part of this video. Now let's put the enclosure back together with the pieces that Tiki already had. So the first two solid fixtures of Tiki's closure I have are this rock that he uses for basking. He also poops on it a lot, so that had a bit of a clean. It's not perfect, but it's better. And then this is Tiki's log cabin. This is where Tiki goes to bed every night. Sorry, when I brought that up, I just had to include this footage that I got. This is shortly a couple days after I did the enclosure upgrade, the substrate upgrade. Sorry, I have a cold and I have a cough now, but Tiki puts himself to bed every night. Look at him. He's just trucking away into his little house. It is so cute. Hopefully you enjoyed that. It's, I think, the most adorable thing ever. Not the best footage ever. I was trying to get it from my mom because she requested that I try to get footage of him going to bed, and oh my gosh, he's just the cutest, most perfect little creature. I might add a little bit more sphagnum moss in there, but the soil is nice and fluffy and much better than the other stuff I had in here, so he's gonna have so many burrowing opportunities that he is gonna love. But yeah, those are the two staples. The only other things that really go in here are Tiki's food and water dish. I'm just gonna give those a really good clean, put those in, and I'll come back. And what is a tortoise enclosure without a tortoise in it? This is a huge pile of greens. I grabbed a little bit more than I was kind of expecting, but honestly Tiki eats a ton, so it's fine. And anything else I just grab and throw it in with my isopods at the end of the day. But you'd be surprised how much he eats. He is ravenous, always eating so much, and tortoises eat every day, so if you want one, that's something you have to consider in your schedule, because I have to make sure that I'm getting fresh fruits, vegetables, all of the above every single day for my beautiful Tiki. And they are actually so cute when they eat. I love it so much. Tiki is not a shy eater. And he loves his greens. Or she. I don't know what Tiki is yet. So Tiki is in there eating there, but let's try and add in just some of these. I have these little natural cork bark pieces left, and I'm just gonna spread these out, give him some other opportunities for climbing, crawling, rooting around. The same thing we've been doing this whole time. So I don't have much going on in this corner over here, so I think one will look good in there. I can put another here. I used to keep Tiki's food dish here, or sorry, water dish here, but I moved it over here because this is right where the UVB sits, and I think it's even just drying out his water dish too quickly. And then, why not, right here. Look at how cute Tiki is. Oh, I love this little creature. Now you might be wondering, how do you make sure Tiki doesn't get out? And that's actually a great question. I'm gonna show you now. It might seem a little bit silly, but it serves two purposes and it actually works really well. So Tiki's enclosure has a lid. This is what it looks like underneath. I use this as kind of the humid side of his enclosure. So this side has his heat light over his rock here, the UVB, and then under here it'll have his water dish, which I've moved, and I'll show you what that all looks like fully set up, but I just want to show you it better right now. And as you can see in there, that's Tiki's log cabin where he goes to bed every single night, tucks himself away. So cute. I love Tiki so much. And that area is just a little bit more quiet, secluded, it's covered, and it holds in the humidity. So yeah, because it has that big dome there, I would be worried that potentially Tiki could climb it and get out, because you either would or wouldn't be surprised with how strong this little tortoise is. Actually crazy how strong they are. So this side of the enclosure stays open, it gets the light, the UVB, the humidity, and that part stays closed. So I know that this is kind of a crazy setup, and it lights it beautifully, and yeah, so you can see you can have that dark side over there. But it's really weird, and the truth is that it looks like this because it's the least permanent. Now, because I'm pretty much done with this enclosure for the video, I'm just gonna let Tiki see what he thinks and adjust. He's gone in for that little piece of red pepper now. And we can talk at the end of this video, face to face, about all of the things that have made caring for Tiki a little bit more challenging. He's so cute. I actually cannot handle the cuteness of this creature, and oh my gosh. Actually, while Tiki's eating, I'll talk about another thing. So Tiki is an indoor tortoise, obviously, you can see in this enclosure. I live in Canada, and throughout pretty much almost all of the year, it wouldn't be reasonable or reliable for Tiki to stay outside. Now, when Tiki is bigger, I may be able to set up an outside enclosure that I could put him in the daytime outside in the summers, and maybe on some really nice summer nights, but it kind of depends on the season we're getting. The weather is also super variable where I am, so I would have to be really on top of it. So creating these enclosures that have good heat, good light, good humidity, good foraging and rooting around opportunities is really important to me, because tortoises do so well outside, but I can't provide that for Tiki. And as a responsible pet owner, it's my job to provide as close to that as possible. And I honestly think I do a pretty good job. And this enclosure is really big for Tiki's size. Tiki has so much room to roam around and get strong little legs and explore. And I think that that is so deeply important. I am so happy with how Tiki's little enclosure turned out. I know that it's just like a small upgrade, just doing a different soil layer and just making it more intentional, but I really, after doing it, feel like it actually is gonna have some great positive benefits for Tiki, especially in terms of foraging and enrichment. Tortoises are extremely intelligent animals. There is so much information just being spread around that reptiles in general are not intelligent, they're not emotional creatures. Lately, I've seen this kind of like viral article where people talk about just how emotionally intelligent tortoises are. It's funny because in my short time of owning one, you wouldn't need a scientific article to tell me that. And to be fair, I am a scientist for a living, so I do actually usually like those peer-reviewed scholarly articles, but when it comes to innate things like animals and their emotions and working with them, those things I think we don't need as much of, because you're just like, this animal is very clearly thinking. Even if Tiki only thinks about food. But yes, I think it's really important. The amount of variety I was able to get in the little botanicals, I was even surprised by what I have, but I used all of it. Luckily, there's a Reptile Expo this weekend that I'll be going to, so I'll probably be getting a lot more of it, and maybe hitting up my friend who has all the really good goodies from Beta Botanicals, because I don't have fish. I regretted not buying these at the last Reptile Expo. They had these little like botanical, they look like mini pumpkins. If I can find them, I really want to get them. Once again, guys, I just want to remind you that upgrades do not have to be a big, huge deal. It doesn't have to be this huge new enclosure or anything like that. It can be little things that make a really big difference. And I genuinely think it'll have a really positive impact for Tiki. Tiki has been growing so fast. I love owning Tiki. This is a major commitment of a pet, like major, and making sure that Tiki has really good growth, really good shell growth, all that stuff, especially from a young age, is very important because Tiki has the potential to live a very, very long time, like 90 years, a long time. So we got to make sure those foundations are set up well and that Tiki is live, laugh, loving, and same with all my animals. Just because Tiki's going to live a long time doesn't mean that I don't have to give the best to everyone. Everyone gets the best. It is gonna be a big tortoise, and I don't know when that'll happen. So Tiki's enclosure is really temporary right now because I can get really good results with temporary and fiddle with it a lot to get the height of the UVB correct, where I place the heat bulb. The more permanent I make things, the less it can grow with Tiki, essentially. And I'm not opposed to shelling out a bunch of money to give Tiki a really good enclosure right now, but I think that it's more responsible in the long run for me to have a very adaptable and adjustable enclosure until Tiki kind of starts to level out in an adult size, and then things will get a lot more permanent. Also, a lot of the information I get, I'm not saying that all the information I get is from this source, but probably one of my favorite sources for tortoise information is Garden State Tortoise and Camp Kennan. Both of them keep lots of different tortoises, but redfoot tortoises. Camp Kennan maybe more so than Garden State Tortoise, but I have learned an absolutely astronomical amount about tortoises from both of them. So I am very thankful, and I also think that their videos are very educational as well as really entertaining. I put them on all the time, even if I don't want to learn about Tiki, but let's be real, I always want to learn about Tiki. So I mean, it's like they're huge channels. It's not like I'm like shouting them out, but I guess I am, because they're really good and I really like them, and I think they're awesome resources for people getting tortoises that are reliable. Both of them really advocate for keeping your animals outside too, by the way, which I really agree with. It's just not something that's possible for me in Canada. And so watching their videos on what makes outdoor enrichment so valuable for tortoises is how I'm able to recreate that inside, and how I will be able to plan for the future for when I have a big tortoise that's living in my house, and hopefully outside a little bit, at least in the daytime in the summer on the nice days. So yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to say the biggest thank you for watching. You should subscribe. Also, I'd love it if you'd comment, tell me what you think about this video, and I'm so excited to see lots of you tune into my Reptile Expo video, because there's another one coming and everybody loves to watch my Reptile Expo videos, and I have some money to spend at this one, so I'll probably have a pretty good haul, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I will see you in the next one, which is my Reptile Expo video. Bye!